What if I told you that the majority of individuals who are roaming about today are already beaten before the battle ever even starts? Not because they're not intelligent, not because they lack opportunity, but because they never learn to be the boss of their own mind. They get up fatigued, spend the day swiping, responding, comparing, and then question why they're weak, fidgety, and anxious. We are living in an era of comfort all around us, but individuals are more vulnerable than ever before. We pursue pleasure but remain empty. We push away pain but suffer every day. The reality is bitter to accept. Contemporary life is meant to make you soft, make you dependent, make you controlled. But beneath that, frailty is something eternal, something that the ancient Stoics grasped better than anyone. The capacity to construct a mind of steel, a mind that will not be shattered by slander, by betrayal, by anarchy, or even by death itself. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman philosopher king, governed in times of wars, plagues, political treachery, and grief. He had all the causes in the world to crack under pressure, but his personal meditations reveal tranquility, lucidity, backbone. Why? Because he lived by mind laws that rendered him untouchable. Epictetus, born a slave, had no bodily freedom, but his was freer than emperors. Seneca, who was constantly being swirled around by corruption and danger in the Roman Senate, still produced writing that continues to direct men thousands of years later. They weren't born superhuman. They conditioned themselves in harsh laws, hammered out through adversity, honed through philosophy, tried in the crucible of life. They are no inspirational fluff. They are weapons. They are shields. They are templates for becoming unstoppable. And in this narrative, I am going to tell you 7 harsh Stoic laws to construct a mind of steel. Not the shallow, inspirational quotes you find on the internet, but the same unvarnished realities that enabled men and women over the centuries to remain erect when all around them crumbled. This isn't comfort. This isn't a fairy tale. This is war for your mind. And if you take these laws to heart, if you practice them, recite them, embody them, you will begin to see something astonishing. Insults won't scar you, fear won't hold you back, chaos won't shatter you. You will still hurt, but it will never consume you. You will still lose, but you won't fold. You will still die, but you will have lived like a warrior. Before we get started, I want you to know something. If you are listening for fun, you'll leave the same as you arrived. But if you lean in, if you listen like this is instruction, if you think and do, you'll find yourself transforming. One law at a time. So don't just sit back like this is white noise. Write these down. Stop when something strikes you. Apply it. Because even one of these laws could change the way you face tomorrow's battles. Now, let me ask you, how much of your suffering comes from the world, and how much comes from your own thoughts about it? A harsh comment from a stranger, and you replay it in your head for days. A plan goes wrong, and you spiral into anger. You watch someone else succeed, and jealousy consumes you. The Stoics would call none of these things the enemy. The enemy is how you allow them to dominate your mind. You've given away the keys of your peace to things you have no control over, and that is the first thing we need to reclaim. Picture going into battle unarmed. Every insult wounds you. Each disappointment hurts you. Each loss brings you down. That is how most folks live nowadays, fully open, fully exposed. The Stoics would not abide this. They created armor not for the flesh, but for the mind. They conditioned themselves to embrace pain, to withstand insult, to release what they could not control, to act with restraint when others acted on impulse. That armor was not forged in a day. It was constructed through practice, through decision, through ruthless honesty. And you can construct the same. But let me give it to you straight. If you desire a mind of steel, you cannot continue living like everybody else. You can't continue to anesthetize yourself with distractions, blame others for your hurt, or wait for life to be just. You have to walk into the fire voluntarily. You have to train with adversity. You have to embrace truths that are uncomfortable. And most importantly, you have to take full responsibility for your mind. That is the cost. That is the journey. That is the only way to be untouchable. So tonight, tomorrow, Every day from now forward, ask yourself, do I crave comfort or do I crave strength? Do I want to stay fragile or do I want to get unshakable? Because you cannot have both. Comfort is cheap. Strength is expensive. Comfort provides you instant gratification. Strength provides you enduring freedom. The Stoics opted for strength, and you must too. This journey will not make you invincible. You will still bleed, you will still cry, but it will make you powerful in a way that most people never get to feel. Power that cannot be stripped from you by insults or betrayal, or even by death. A mind of steel, and it all starts with the first brutal law. Let me pose a question. When did you last feel like life knocked you so hard you couldn't catch your breath? Perhaps someone betrayed you. Perhaps your plans fell through. Perhaps you woke up one day and knew the people you thought would be there forever were gone. In those moments, people usually break. They lose themselves in rage, or they drown in despair, or they numb their pain with distractions. But the Stoics would view the same storm and say, this is the training. This is not the end. It is the fire that forges the steel of your mind. The first harsh law is this: control what you can, accept what you cannot. Epictetus said it straightforwardly. Some things are up to us, some are not. Think about that. Most people spend their whole lives worrying about things they can't control. The opinions of others, the past, the future, luck, circumstances. And yet, the only thing that is actually yours, your mind, your actions, your decisions, is left behind. That is why people remain weak. They give away their peace to things they can't control. Imagine a man standing in the rain, yelling at the clouds, angry that the storm won't pass. That is what you get when you allow anger, jealousy, or fear to dominate you. The Stoics never would do such a thing. They would draw their cloak closer, move ahead, and concentrate only on what can be done in the present. You can't halt the storm, but you can continue walking. You can't prevent the insults, but you can prevent them from taking up residence in your mind. You can't stop death, but you can stop living in a certain way until it gets you. The reality is that the world does not owe you justice. Life does not promise you smooth sailing. You will lose some things. People will let you down. Plans will collapse. You can struggle against reality, shout at it, refuse it, or you can accept it, adjust, and move forward. Acceptance is strength. Acceptance is clarity. It is looking at the battlefield as it is rather than spending time wishing it was otherwise. When you cease battling reality, you release your power to battle where it counts, within yourself. Now question yourself. How much time have you wasted having anxiety over other people's opinions? How many nights have you wasted reliving things that can't be taken back? How much energy have you invested in people that are already dead? Every second you waste stuck to what you can't control, you lose power. Every moment you shift that energy to what you can control, you cut sharper the metal of your mind. That is the first law. The second vicious law is this: discipline is freedom. Nobody hears the word discipline, and they think restrictions, rules, chains. But the Stoics did not see it that way. They understood discipline as leading towards real freedom. Because if you are not disciplined, you are a slave. To your impulses, to your wants, to your laziness, to other people's demands. You believe you are free when you obey your appetites. But in reality, they own you. Seneca cautioned us against being a slave to pleasure. He lived during an era of excess, of extravagance, where men who controlled the empire were brought down not by foes, but by their own desires. Sound familiar? We live nowadays amidst constant pleasures, scrolling, food, drugs, gossip, distractions. Yet we are restless, anxious, unfulfilled. Why? Because pleasure without discipline is poison. It weakens you. It makes you vulnerable. It makes you dependent. Discipline, in contrast, is saying no when everyone else says yes. Waking up early when you don't feel like sleeping in. Keeping your mouth shut when you want to vent. Continuing to train when you wish to give up. Discipline hurts in the moment, but it creates liberty in the long term. When you are in control, You are free from addiction, free from regret, free from weakness. That is the type of freedom most people will never experience. Take a look around you. How many people do you see living in patterns of self-destruction? They cannot control what they put in their mouths. They cannot control their rage. They cannot control their scrolling. They cannot control their spending. They cannot control their jealousy. And then they complain that they are unhappy. The Stoics would reply, naturally you are unhappy. You are not free. You are enslaved by your own desires. Only self-discipline can liberate you. So when the urge to indulge arises, you say to yourself, who is in command here, me or the craving? Each time you hold back, each time you embrace discipline instead of indulgence, you add another link to your armor. You hone your mind to steel. You might believe that discipline is suffering, but it is actually the only path through this world unencumbered. The third cruel law is this: find discomfort, avoid comfort. This one is cruel because all of our society is based on the assurance of comfort. The plush couch, the hot food, the constant entertainment. We are led to believe that happiness lies in convenience and ease, in not experiencing pain at any cost. And yet, why are there so many depressed, anxious, lost individuals? Because comfort creates weakness. The Stoics conditioned themselves to accept unpleasantness. Marcus Aurelius slept on a stiff mattress to be reminded that it was not necessary to live luxuriously. Epictetus, having been a slave himself, cautioned his pupils never to rely on ease, for ease can be withdrawn at any moment. Seneca composed letters in which he recounted practicing poverty, living on coarse bread, wearing tattered garments, so that if fate one day took away from him his riches, he would be able to hold up without crumbling. You see, comfort makes you weak. It makes you feel you are strong. But when things become difficult, you break. Discomfort, however, makes you unshakable. When you exercise in discomfort, cold showers, fasting, silence, discipline, you immunize yourself against fear. When pain hits, it no longer catches you off guard. When loss hits, you have already practiced letting go. When the storm hits, you stand. Most will do anything to avoid The Stoics pursued it. They viewed every moment of adversity as an opportunity for building resilience. For them, pain was never the enemy. It was the instructor, and pain students were masters of strength. So the next time you are confronted with something difficult, don't flee, don't hide. Walk right into it. Ask yourself, what lesson lies concealed here? What strength can I forge from this? Because every moment of pain is an opportunity to sharpen your steel. And this is just the beginning. These initial 3 laws already make you different from the weaker masses. But there are 4 more in store, laws that will sever even deeper, truths that will require even more out of you. If you can withstand them, if you can live them, you will create a mind that no storm can shatter. The 4th brutal law is this: silence is power. People think that power is derived from speaking, from debating, from winning arguments. They clog the airways with noise, clamoring to be heard, determined to persuade. But the Stoics knew something deeper. The man who masters his tongue masters his fate. Consider Marcus Aurelius. He was the ruler of the greatest empire on the planet, and his personal journals are full of admonitions to himself to be quiet, to be modest, to hear more than he said. Seneca said that we have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we may listen more and talk less. And Epictetus warned his disciples that the man who cannot master his tongue cannot master his mind. Why is silence important? Because silence can't be used against you. Words are weapons. Once let loose, they can be manipulated, warped, employed to hurt you. But silence? Silence gives enemies nothing to strike at. Silence compels others to expose themselves while you are concealed, observing, learning, holding back. Consider the world today. Everybody is speaking, screaming, tweeting, posting, yearning for attention. But the more you talk, the more you expose your vulnerabilities. The person who keeps quiet, who watches, who listens, becomes inviolable. He notices what others don't. He hears what others don't want to hear. He acts when the moment is ripe, and when he does, his words rain like thunder. This law is ruthless in that it demands self-control. It demands swallowing pride when you are insulted. It demands resisting the temptation to justify yourself when misunderstood. It demands allowing people to underestimate you, jeer at you, dismiss you, while you remain silent and become more powerful. But when you finally need to speak, your words will have the power of wisdom, not rancor. That is real power. The fifth violent law is this: detach from desire. This law slices deeper than the others. For desire compels all that most humans do. The desire for money, the desire for status, the desire for recognition, the desire to be loved. These desires rule them, enslave them, and eventually kill them. The Stoics cautioned repeatedly, if you are a slave to desire, you are not free. Epictetus taught, freedom is not attained through satisfying desires, but by eradicating them. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself every day that fortune, fame, and pleasure are transient shadows. Seneca taught that wealth is quantified in terms of what you don't need, not by what you have. The harsh reality is this: the more you want, the more you suffer. Consider it. Every time you want something beyond your control, you give up your peace. You want someone's love. They now have your happiness. You want money. The economy now has your mood. You want approval. Strangers now get to decide your worth. This is why individuals end up feeling empty despite getting what they wanted. Because desire is insatiable. It never ceases. Once satiated, it becomes more powerful. The Stoics were detached. They didn't deny themselves the pleasures of life. They appreciated them when they appeared, but they would not rely on them. If they were wealthy, they spent their money prudently. If they lost it, they were peaceful. If they got love, they treasured it. When it went away, they released it. For them, liberty was being in need of nothing, so that no one and nothing could bind their soul. This law is savage because it requires sacrifice. It is about letting go of things that seem like a part of who you are. It is about being able to say, I can enjoy this, but I do not need it. It is about considering everything you possess. Your home, your profession, your loved ones, and whispering, I can live without you. And only then are you free. The sixth cruel law is this: memento mori, remember you will die. People are generally living as though they have an eternity. They fritter away years on trivial squabbles, on pursuing shallowness, on fretting about nothing. They do not get what is important done. They think that tomorrow will arrive. But the Stoics stared death in the face and said, I am ready. Marcus Aurelius wrote, you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do, say, and think. Seneca wrote that to learn to live is to learn to die. Epictetus reminded his students every day that death is not to be feared. It is merely the end of the play when the actor exits from the stage. Why is this law cruel? Because it takes away illusion. It makes you realize how vulnerable life is, how transitory everything is, that resentment you are nursing, worthless. That fear that is immobilizing you, futile. That dream you've been putting off, time is ticking away. Memento mori does not speak of despair, but of urgency. It speaks of living so intensely, so intentionally, that when you die, you have no regret. You spoke the things you needed to speak. You created the things you needed to create. You loved in freedom. You lived with courage when you hold death in your mind. Life is clearer, brighter, truer. The seventh and last brutal law is this: turn pain into power. This is the heart of Stoicism. Life will hurt you, guaranteed. But what you do with that pain, that is the choice. Most people let pain kill them. They become bitter, resentful, broken. The Stoics turned pain into fuel. Marcus Aurelius endured war, treason, illness, child loss, and still produced words that motivate the world. Epictetus was whipped as a slave, left maimed, and still became one of the great philosophers' teachers. Seneca was commanded by the emperor to take his own life and still died peacefully and with dignity. The law is straightforward. Whatever comes, use it. When you are betrayed, learn about loyalty. When you are wounded, develop toughness. When you fail, learn wisdom. Suffering is the raw material of greatness. Every punch life delivers to you is an opportunity to steel yourself into becoming stronger. This law is ruthless because it does not allow for self-pity. It simply means that whatever happens, you have to be responsible for growing. You cannot fault other people. You have to take your pain and shape it into strength. That is the way you become untouchable. Thus are the 7 harsh laws. Control what you can, discipline yourself, find discomfort, accept silence, de-identify from desire, recall death, and transform pain into power. Live them, and you will create a mind of steel. You will stride through chaos serene, through tempests unshattered, through fire unscathed. The world will not make sense of you. They will seek to shake you, provoke you, shatter you, but you will be still, quiet, unbreakable. Think of a soldier in combat. Arrows whiz, swords ring out, men shout. Chaos surrounds him, but he doesn't crumble. His breathing is calm, his actions are smooth. Why? Because he has been trained. He has practiced till discipline took the place of fear. He has practiced pain, practiced death, practiced loss, so when it comes, he doesn't break down. He acts. That soldier is what the Stoics wished every man to be. Rock steady in storms, serene in chaos, invulnerable in the face of ruin. Now imagine the modern battlefield. It doesn't resemble swords and shields. It resembles never-ending notifications, deadlines, bills, betrayals, heartbreaks. The instruments are different, but the assault on your peace is no less relentless. Most people aren't soldiers. They are untrained, untested, vulnerable. The smallest insult pierces them. The tiniest setback breaks them. They live as slaves to their emotions, staggering through life with no armor. But you don't have to be like them. The Stoic laws are your training ground. They are the drills that prepare you for war, the war of daily life. Take the first law, control what you can, accept what you cannot. Picture 2, men losing their jobs on the same day. The first man collapses. He curses his boss, blames the economy, drinks his sorrows, wallows in self-pity all day. The second man accepts reality immediately. He does not indulge in self-pity. He concentrates on what he can control, his effort, his search, his attitude. He learns new skills. He connects. He remains calm. One man falls, one man ascends. The only variance is law number 1. Or consider discipline. Consider the man who never resists pleasure. He eats until he is ill. He spends until he is penniless. He indulges until he is feeble. He imagines he is free, but he is bound. Now consider him compared to the man of discipline. He eats clean. He trains every day. He masters his words, his money, his energy. He seems stiff, perhaps even dull to others. But actually, he is the only free man. He owns himself. He cannot be tempted, cannot be bribed, cannot be enslaved. Which one do you think forms a mind of steel? Now silence. Look at the man who always has something to say. He posts on the net. He gossips in the workplace. He yells back when insulted. He believes his insults demonstrate strength, but really they demonstrate weakness. His foes know precisely how to annoy him, precisely which strings to pull. He tangos like a puppet to their insults. Picture now, the man of silence. Someone makes fun of him. No reaction. Someone lies on him. He remains serene. Someone attempts to pull him towards chaos. He struts away. His silence makes his enemies lose their minds. They cannot keep up with him. They expose their vulnerability while he becomes more powerful. What kind of man do you wish to be? Desire. This one kills millions today. Look around. Unending pursuit. Bigger houses. nicer cars, more likes, more followers, more approval. And everyone is never happy. They acquire what they desire, and the hunger increases. It never stops. They live like addicts, pawning the world for crumbs of pleasure. But the man who anchors from desire, he wanders through the same world unencumbered. He can enjoy wealth, yet doesn't require it. He can enjoy love, yet doesn't beg for it. He can enjoy approval, yet doesn't rely on it. Nothing holds him back. He is his own. That is unbreakable. And death. How many live as though they are immortal? They fritter years away on trivial resentments. They allow fear to deter them from pursuing their goals. They believe that there will always be another time. But time is evading, moment by moment. You do not know if tomorrow arrives. The Stoics understood this. That is why they lived with urgency. That is why Marcus Aurelius wrote in his diary, reminding himself every day, you could leave life right now. If you knew today was your last day, how much gossip would you waste time on? How much fear would you entertain? How much of your life would you spend scrolling, complaining, waiting? Memento mori is not about death. It is about life. It's about living so fiercely that when death comes, you are ready. And lastly, pain. Consider the strongest individuals in history. Were their lives a walk in the park? Number they were battered, betrayed, exiled, mocked, broken. But rather than having pain break them, they had it sharpen them. Each wound was a lesson. Each failure was fuel. Each loss was strength. That is the Stoic way. That is how you forge a mind of steel. And how do you live these laws now? You practice. You rehearse. You train. When someone insults you, remain silent. When desire whispers, deny. When comfort calls, choose instead discomfort. When pain comes, use it as power. When life takes away your illusions, accept. When fear says wait, remember death, and act. Repetition after repetition, day after day, you steel yourself. Slowly, you become the soldier during the storm. Slowly, you become unbreakable. But here is the ugly truth. Most people won't do this. They will read these words, nod, feel motivated, and then go back to weakness. They will choose comfort, lust, noise, excess. They will choose slavery. And when life pounds them into dust, they will wonder why, but not you. If you've listened so far, if these words sear in your chest, then you are different. You are ready to train. You are ready to suffer. You are ready to walk the brutal way. And if you do, if you live these laws, you'll find a freedom most folks can't even dream of. A peace that no insult can ruffle. A strength that no loss can break. A courage that no fear can shake. This is not theory. This is not philosophy stuck in books. This is life, raw and real. And the decision is yours. Will you remain frail? Or will you make yourself into steel? Most individuals lead their lives like leaves blown about by the wind. One slight injury to their feelings and they are shattered. One disappointment and they are destroyed. One failure and they fold up in self-pity. They do not even know how weak they are until life puts them to the test. And then, of course, it is too late. But you need not be this way. You can pick a different way. You can decide to shape your mind into steel. The Stoics were human beings. Marcus Aurelius wasn't born unflappable. Epictetus wasn't born liberated. Seneca wasn't born sage. They were men, flawed men with weaknesses, emotions, and fears. The only difference was they practiced. They practiced their laws daily until their minds became unwavering. And you can too. The question is, will you make the commitment? Each time you find yourself griping, you have a decision. Will you fuel your weakness, or will you channel your energy toward action? Each time desire tempts you, you have a choice. Will you allow it to own you, or will you recall that you are already enough? Each time pain comes knocking, you have a choice. Will you collapse, or will you channel it into power? Each moment of your life is training. Every test is a chance to practice, and every practice makes you untouchable. But don't misunderstand, this is not a quick fix. It's not a motivational high that lasts a few hours. This is a lifelong path. It will cost you comfort. It will cost you popularity. It will cost you the easy pleasures everyone else chases. But what you gain in return is priceless. You gain calm in storms. You find strength in suffering. You find courage in the face of death. You find the strength to walk through life unbroken, no matter what comes. Consider how scarce that leaves you. In a world where individuals snap at the slightest setback, you are patient. In a world where individuals beg for attention, you are happy in quiet contemplation. In a world where individuals shrink from death, you live with courage. In a world where individuals are dictated by lust, you are free. That is what it is to be untouchable. That is what it is to exist under Stoic law. So the challenge is now yours. Take these laws and use them. Not tomorrow, not someday. But today, when the next insult occurs, remain silent. When the next pain comes, make it strength. When the next desire whispers, stand against it. Train each day, because the world won't quit testing you. And every test is either your ruin or your sharpening. If you commit, if you truly live this way, you won't merely endure life. You'll own it. You'll be the soldier in the storm. You'll be the calm in the chaos. You'll be the mind of steel the Stoics dreamed of. And when you get there, nothing, no enemy, no pain, no fear, will ever touch you again. So now ask yourself, are you going to stay weak, pursuing comfort, breaking at every insult, or are you going to step onto the hard road, take up the discipline, and be the rare man who is free? The decision is yours. But let this be remembered. The world will press you whether better to go to war prepared, better to be tempered in fire now than broken in fire later. Choose strength, choose stoicism, choose steel,